I'm going to show you how to throw a bowl. Take a piece of clay that fits in your hands about like this, so you have about an inch that's open when you put the heels of your hands together. And then plop the clay right in the center of the wheel head. Turn on the wheel, and as slowly as you can get the wheel to go, take your hands and you're going to slap the piece of clay onto the wheel head. As you're doing this, make sure that your arms stay connected to your body and that you're not moving your hands around when you do this. You want to keep your hands firmly at the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock position on the wheel. And then if you do this well, you're well on your way to having it centered already, just by doing that. The next step is to take your right index finger, hold it with your left hand, and at the 4 o'clock position, seal the clay onto the wheel. Add water. Build up a slip on your hands, and this will help you to center better because your hands won't stick to the clay as you're centering it. The 2 steps of the centering process are coning up and bringing it back down. We'll start with the coning up process. Keep your arms connected to your body as you do this. Lean in towards the wheel, hands at the 3 and 9 o'clock position of the wheel, and you're going to squeeze in and then continue to move your hands up. When you get to the top, let go of your clay gently. And you can do that a couple times. You don't have to do that whole coning up in one fell swoop. And then when you get to the top of the clay, once you've coned it up, you want to bring the clay back down. So you're going to have the right hand at the 4 o'clock position and the left hand on the other side of it. Interlock your thumbs, and you're pressing with the right hand as the left hand is gathering the clay and making sure that you don't have any undercuts as you bring the clay down. And you repeat those 2 steps until you have the clay centered. Right now the clay is wobbling around a little bit, so it's not quite on center, so we're going to cone up again. Coning up. Re-lubricate the clay and then bring it back down. Once you have the clay on center, open up the center of the clay, put a little bit of water right there to help facilitate opening up the mass of clay. Your left and right hand are on either side of the clay, and your thumbs are going to press down in the center to open. Here's the position of your hands. You want the thumbs to come down like this in a natural position. The thing that you do not want to do is to take your hands like this to open, because you're going to knock the mass of clay back off center. The next step is to open up the floor of the pot. So the position of the hands is the same as opening. This time you're going to move the thumbs out towards the hands. The hands do not move. If you move the hands out, then you're going to end up with a plate. So take your hands either side, open up with your thumbs out towards your hands, and at this point you can recenter the clay a little bit. During the opening procedure, your clay may have gotten off center, so this is how you go about recentering this clay. Take your left hand over here, put it into your hip bone so that you have a nice stable position for your left hand, and you're going to press down on the wall of the pot with the right hand and squeeze with the left as you do this. The wheel is going very fast, and that helps you to get that back onto center. We want to compress the center of the clay so that we don't end up with an S-crack in the base of our bowl. And you do this from the 4 o'clock position towards the center. So you're sweeping your hand in from the left, from the 4 o'clock position into the center. Do this about 5 times, and you can do this either with a sponge in your hand just like I demonstrated a second ago, or just with your bare hand like this in towards the center. This also helps to get a nice, beautiful, seamless curve in the base of your pot. You want to make sure that you have about about a half an inch thickness in the bottom of your pot. So that's a good thickness right there. Now we're going to start pulling up the wall of the pot. Come over here to the 4 o'clock position. Right hand is on the outside at the 4 o'clock position. The left hand is you're resting the thumb of your left hand on top of your right hand, and the two hands are opposite on the opposite sides of the wall of the pot, and with the wheel going a little bit slower than it's been going for the other opening and centering techniques. You want to slow down the wheel speed, and what you're doing is you're squeezing and lifting up. As you do this, when you get to the top, release your fingers very gently off of the top of the pot. You can add a little bit of water to the pot by squeezing a sponge right at the top rim, and that evenly distributes water over the pot. Make sure that you take the water out of the bottom of the inside of the pot so you don't get an S-crack there. So feel the side of the pot and see where the thick parts are, because that's where you need to put a little bit more pressure, wherever it's thick. So again, pulling up, we're squeezing and lifting our hands up. Where you feel it to be a little thinner, you back off on pressure. When you get to the top of the pot, release gently without squeezing. That's about a 1/4 inch throughout now. So I want to do some shaping now. Before I do that, I'm going to remove a little bit of clay right from the bottom by taking my wooden rib at the 4 o'clock position, holding it with both hands and undercutting. If you have a big amount of material coming out this way, you might need to also cut the clay this way, holding the wooden rib in your hands like so, and cutting downwards to get rid of a little bit more of the mass of clay. And before you try cutting that off, add a little water in to create a moat between this excess clay and the pot, and then you can easily cut that off without it re-adhering to the side of your bowl. Going to use a little rubber rib to do some shaping now. With the wheel going very slow, we're going to take the rib on the inside of the pot. The left hand is supporting from the outside as we're pushing down. I'm getting a nice smooth curve on the inside. Level off the wall of the bowl. And if you use a chamois to do this process, it will make the rim of the bowl very smooth looking and a little bit thicker right on the rim. Undercut the pot again with your wooden rib. Put a little bit of water underneath your bowl. Take a cutting wire, cut through until it starts to move a little bit. When it starts to move, then you know you're ready to slide it off into your hand and to put it on another surface. I want you to practice taking your bowls from one surface to another. Eventually you'll throw larger things and you'll just keep them on the throwing bat, but for now with smaller objects you can just pick them up and put them on another surface. So here is our thrown piece, our bowl.